Starosta. Numéro 2, Josef Kuchai. Numéro 20, Jaroslav Simec. Numéro 4, David Maciek. Numéro 5, Andrei Bejec. Numéro 6, Jan-Matej H. Numéro 7, Karel Kral. Numéro 8, Stéphane Treisch. Numéro 9, Anthony Berta. Numéro 10, Adam Putna. Numéro 11, Lubos Pestriska. Numéro 12, Christophe Pouch. Numéro 13, Jindrich Kulavi. Numéro 14, Jakub Zamisliki. Numéro 15, Willem Zuzanicki. Numéro 16, Dominique Zwoboda. Numéro 17, Adam Zwark. Numéro 18, Mathias Rasch. Numéro 23, Ladislav Rada. Numéro 26, Karel Sampali. Numéro 21, Yerli Cimecek. Numéro 22, Matej Formanek. Numéro 19, Christophe Cheman. Numéro 24, Philippe Roux. Pour la Suisse, numéro 1, Alexandre Pantillon. Numéro 2, Michael Picouroulé. Numéro 3, Axel Reyes. Numéro 4, Julien Kimbro. Numéro 5, Ahmed Ken. Numéro 6, Axel Guérin. Numéro 7, Melvin Schenker. Numéro 8, Mehdi Porcher. Numéro 9, Jolan Vincent. Numéro 10, Hugo Kobé. Numéro 11, Rami Bentekaya. Numéro 12, Julien Conus. Numéro 13, Victor Spreng. Numéro 14, Maël Janet. Numéro 22, Adrien Bobillier. Numéro 16, Ma Yuzio. Numéro 17, Adam Janse van Rensburg. Numéro 18, Rémi Ouavre. Numéro 19, Titouan Longate. Numéro 20, Rémi May. Numéro 21, Colin Mazenauer. Numéro 22, Adrien Bobillier. Numéro 23, Yedidia Ferscourt. Son numéro, Leo Rocha. Et numéro 15, Stuart Pattison. Les officiels de la rencontre seront pour commissaire de match Jean-Louis Largati, arbitre de champ
David, André, Jan Matai, Karel, Stefan, Antonin, Adam, Lubos, Christophe, Jindrik, Jakub, Willem, Dominique, Adam, Matthias, Ladislav, Karel, Yuri, Matej, Christophe, Starastoza, Kusha, Simek, Mace, Beya, Has, Kral, Kretzo, Merta, Putna, Metzvilka, Kohuts, Kolhavi, Zamisliki.
Aurélie?
Sami Slicky, Zuzanik, Voboda, Vark, Raz, Rada, Sampalik, Simeshek, Formanek, Zeman,
119 minutes. Il l'a plugué là? Ouais.
Starosta.
Oui. Bah, pour l'instant, on n'a rien. Attends, je te passe Jim. Tiens, merci. Est-ce que la caméra est bien sortie? Ouais, même si c'est bien plein. Il n'y a pas d'image. Vous avez enlevé la cape devant? Rien. Normalement, vous êtes bien non, normalement, peut-être start, oui. Pardon.
Veuillez vous lever pour les hymnes. Please stand up for the anthems. La Fédération Suisse de Rugby tient à remercier tout particulièrement l'entreprise Mavala, nouveau partenaire principal de l'équipe nationale Suisse U18. Mavala est une entreprise familiale suisse fabriquant des produits cosmétiques vendus en Suisse et dans le monde entier depuis 60 ans. Tous les produits sont imaginés, développés et fabriqués à Genève dans leur propre laboratoire. Les produits Mavala ont pour couleur emblématique le rouge et le blanc, tout comme les équipes nationales suisses de rugby. À présent, M. Peter Schubbar, président de la Fédération Suisse de Rugby, va remettre symboliquement un maillot de l'équipe de Suisse U18 à Mme Maud Beaubillier, directrice de l'entreprise Mavala. Mme Maud Beaubillier donnera ensuite le coup d'envoi de cette rencontre et de ce Suisse Rugby Day.
Well, a very warm welcome to all our viewers from across the world who are tuning in for this under-18 friendly today between Switzerland and the Czech Republic. I say friendly, but is there ever such a thing in this wonderful game that we all love? Brought to you from the glorious, glorious setting of Nyon, just on the outskirts of Geneva. The pitch is drenched in sunlight today, flanked by the Alps, Lake Geneva to the other side. I could not think of a better way to be spending a Saturday afternoon as we see these young charges be ready to do battle. We've had the anthems, we've had the ceremonial kickoff from the sponsor, Mavala. And as the players settle, the referee just making sure that everything is in order. And Aurélie Lemouzy will be getting us underway very, very shortly with her whistle. A healthy looking crowd beginning to accumulate on the far touchline from where I'm commentating from. And both sets of players eager to get things underway. The ball in Hugo Courbay's hands, captain, kicker, talisman for this Swiss team. As we get underway, he drops it short into the 22, and it's an early knock-on from the Czech and a chance for advantage for the Swiss. Nothing coming from it. And we're going to get a chance to see the set piece in action very early. Two sets of feisty eights looking to lay a marker down early in this fixture, and it's an under-18 match, but look at the size of some of the boys on display here, notably Mehdi Porsche in the number 8 jersey for the Swiss, plying his trade at Waynax in France. I'm sure they'll be keen to get his hands on the ball nice and early, some big heavy carries into the Czech defense. We have a reset to start, but that's the referee not happy. Stamping her authority early in the set piece. And we have a third try at it. Third time lucky. Let's see how we go. Referee happier this time. It seemed there was a premature shunt. The referee in agreement. He calls a free kick. The attempt to go quickly from Vincent. Took the tap behind her. She calls it back. We're going to see the ball in the Swiss hands for the first time in this match. And they look to put some width, but they go through the centre. They carry through the middle from Konus. Good play. Some yards coming easily for the Swiss at the moment, as they go through the back row route. Guerin, Axel Guerin, wearing the 6 jersey today. Diminutive for a 6, but athletic, wiry, fast. He makes some yards there, and the Swiss find room down the left-hand side. It's an early break and a handoff, and he crashes over the line. Alexandre Pantillon gives the Swiss the dream start on this sunny day in Nyon, taking the lead and scoring the first try of the match within 3 minutes. Well, that all came far too easy for the Swiss, and is that a terrifying omen for the Czechs so early in this game? It was patient play on the right half of the pitch that afforded the opportunity to put some air on the ball, take it wide left. And then the power of Pantillon scampering in the wide channels. It was a big right-handed fend. And it was easy street all the way to line as he crashed over. To give Colovray a chance to add the extras. Just drifts right at the uprights across the face of the poles. So no maximum for the Swiss, but a strong start. 5-0 they lead. A competitive restart is claimed supremely. A soft penalty to give away there. The Swiss had the momentum. Great receipt from Schenker, but going off their feet at the breakdown gives the Czechs an opportunity to pin this one into the corner and build a line-out set piece. The scrum didn't go too well for them moments ago. Let's see what they're like in the air. Some big men in there, notably the locks, David Mashek, Andrej Bezek. Who will they go for? Well, neither. They plump for Kreshel in the number 8 jersey, but it goes awry. It's a let-off for the Swiss and a chance to exit. They carry, again through their number 6. Almost loses the ball. But grabs onto it at the last minute. They kick to clear, it's charged down partially. Ball loose, but the Czech defence in their haste to get to that charge down were offside. And the Swiss will gratefully receive this penalty. As Colovray shapes for the touchline. It's a good connection, but not deep enough into the touchline, and the Czech look to counter. Tap tackle brings down Zhuzanek, but the Czech still have it. A penalty again against the Swiss. That's their second already this match. Within 6 minutes. And the Czech touch finder, far more consummate. Off the field, onto the running track here that circles the pitch here at Nyon. And they get another chance to see if they can get their aerial set piece right. The referee talking to both captains early in the game, not happy with the penalty count. A fair degree of nefarious activity going on at the breakdown. With both captains admonished, we see the Swiss in the air. It's untidy, but the Czech come away with it, and they look to go wide. Into the hands of their inside centre. Kohut looks to be held up there. Men piling in, but they get him to the floor. The referee happy with it. And they zigzag back to the right. Lovely play, releasing Kreshel. A hint of crossing in the middle. The referee allows it. Runners off 9. Bit of confusion, but they get away with it. Good support play. And it's penalty advantage once more to the Czechs. The Swiss come away with the ball. It's a long arm penalty straight up into the air, and I fear there is going to be a conversation for Captain Hugo Colovray to squirm out of. The referee did warn both captains only a moment ago, and it's a yellow card very, very early in this game. The referee taking no nonsense, and the Swiss, they may be 5 points to the good, but they're 1 man down and playing with 14 for the next 10 minutes. Swiss player looking pretty miffed, departing the pitch. That familiar face of Humigov. But the referee had warned the players. And it's number 3, Axel Reyes, the other half of the prop duo. And the Czech gleefully receive the penalty, slot it over the poles. And it's 5 points to 3, but they are also a man up. And they'll look to capitalise on this next 10 minutes. A feisty start to the game. Big hit coming in there from the Swiss number 5, Ahmed Kane, imposing his authority around the fringes. There's an interception opportunity and the Swiss have it. The captain throwing a mid up into the sky, halting it and then clasping it, but he's lost it in the breakdown. The Czech have it back. They clear up to the 10-meter line. Maëlle Jeannet claims it, puts a chip over the top. It's an awkward bounce. The Czech are under pressure, and the Swiss come away with it. It's Jeannet who's taking it. The hooker, Colovray, takes it on for an extra 5 yards. Something's happened that the referee doesn't like, and she brings it back for the advantage. It was being played to the Swiss. It was a lovely bit of play from Maëlle Jeannet in to the fullback position. A late replacement for injured Niels Bury, rolling an ankle in the warm-up. See Jeannet move to fullback, and number 22, Adrien Bobier, go on to the wing. We haven't seen too much of Bobier. Thrown a starting berth by surprise due to the unfortunate injury of Bury. But Jeannet looking born to the manner in the fullback position there, claiming it cleanly, and then with the vision and the confidence to put a chip over the top, turn the Czech defence and force the error that gives them this scrum in the 22 of the Czech. And it's messy once again. The Swiss seem to have the edge in the close quarters at the moment. I have a reset and a Swiss put in. But fascinating to see what their backs can do of this set piece. Once again, the referee having a word with both packs, not happy with how things are going at scrum time at the moment, and rightly so. A number of resets, a penalty already. She's looking for some consistency and courtesy, dare I say it, so that we can stop eating up the minutes and see a bit of running rugby here at Nyon. We're finally back underway. The Swiss down to 14, remember, missing their prop Axel Reyes after receiving a yellow card for a breakdown penalty, but it hasn't seemed to have affected the strength of their scrum, or has it? It's been one against the head, and the Czech scurry out. Then number 9, Antonin Murta, finds himself isolated though. A penalty goes to the Swiss. What will they do here? They're going to the corner. Unfazed by their numerical disadvantage. Colbert puts it to 10 meters from the Czech line. And we're going to see the Swiss's first line-out attempt. Hasn't gone smoothly for the Czech so far. Let's see what the Swiss can do in this very promising position. Well, it's overthrown massively. And again, the Czech clean up, put boot to ball all the way up to the halfway line. Another awkward bounce, but it falls into Jeannet's hands, who counters. He again puts it on the toe, looks a little bit heavy. He chases after in vain as the ball trickles out. We'll have a scrum back to where he kicked it, but Jeannet is looking threatening when he counters from the back. That's going to be a worry for the Czech on where they can kick to relieve pressure in this game, because if it goes into the hands of Jeannet, he's not afraid to counter. He's not afraid to try things. And he's certainly asking questions of the men in the white jerseys this afternoon already. Cute restart from the Czech. Comes off the knee. And they have it. Not committing many men to the breakdown. Leaves them susceptible to the turnover, but muscular defence from Konas drives the Czechs back. They step inside. Meters proving hard to come by Lovely dummy switch, and they throw a miss pass out to the wing. There's a number of red jerseys surrounding the Czech there, but he does well. And they switch it back to the right, to their big number 20, the tight head prop, Jaroslav Šimek. The Czech looking a little bit lost for solutions at the moment to this mean Swiss defence. Their one-out runners being met by at least 2 red jerseys every time. They're in fear of kicking long to Jeanette. They really haven't made much progress, but a hole opens up in the middle and it's taken gleefully by their number 12. Kohut, great play, but the offload is snaffled by Jeanette. The Swiss have it now between the 10 and the 22. The first time we've seen the Czech break the Swiss defence, and it was a lovely running line from Kone. Slotted through by Putner. All that tackling, the Swiss began to look a bit tired. Some holes opening up in the middle and exploited supremely by Kohut. It's another missed touch from the Swiss from a penalty. Easy yards, easy possession, easy territory being squandered by the boot of their captain, Hugo Kobe, at the moment. The Czech have the option, scrum or 22. Quite rightly, they take it all the way back into the Swiss half, just on the outskirts of the 22. Their scrum's been creaking a bit, but it's been on Swiss ball every time. So let's see what they can do with the put-in on theirs. Giving away a few kilograms. But if they can lock their technique down and push as an 8, hold it firm, which they do, they attack down the left, out the back door, to the man who made the break earlier, looking very lively, Kone. The Swiss have come through, taken the 9, which is illegal. Kohut taps, goes, fends. He can't be put down at the moment. He wants the ball every opportunity. And the Czech looking good here. Held up in the tackle, but it's offloaded to the tight head prop. Takes a few more yards. Another penalty to the Czechs. They tap and go. They look to go right. Held up by 2 men short. 3 meters out. Coming round the corner, the big man, number 5, Ondřej Bezek, cannot be stopped. And he gets the Czechs' first try of the game. Their attacking endeavours finally rewarded, and they take the lead, 8 points to 5, a kick to come. They're beginning to discover holes in the Swiss defence, wearing them down. But Bezek coming round the corner from the blind side of the defence. A lovely weighted ball to him. Sees him crash through the hole, over the line. We've got a real game on our hands here. And he's brought his kicking boots today because that conversion is good. And the Czech find themselves leading 10 points to 5. They went down 5-0 very early after an Alexandra Pantilon burst down the left-hand side. But since then, they've really grown into the game. It's no surprise it's coincided with Axel Reyes' departure from the field of play with a yellow card. He's just retaken the field. And the Swiss need to regroup. A few errors beginning to cost them, missed touches from penalties. Certainly their penalty count is too high. But they'll gladly receive that error from the kickoff. It's scrum advantage from the knock-on from the Czechs. The Swiss here, a chance to build through the try scorer, Pantalon. He takes them up to the 22. There's men right, but they go short to the big man. Porsche. Scrappy ball there at the base. The referee says penalty. There's a decision here for the Swiss. They've missed a few touches, and their line out isn't quite ticking just yet. Will they go for the 3 points to close the gap? Yes, they will. Looking to cash in on Cobert's 100% record from the tee. He slotted one from 15 metres from the touchline on the left-hand side after the opening try. So this one right in front of the pole should be child's play for their captain and top point scorer. And true to form, he bisects the poles. The Swiss trail by 2, a settling penalty after a period of pressure that's seen the Czech Republic score 10 unanswered points. A tussle out there across every blade of grass. Just over 20 minutes gone, 35 minutes halves here for this under-18s fixture, being played under World Rugby under-19 rules, and that's a slip from Ben Takea. He recovers, and Reyes then goes through the middle, but he's dispossessed, and it's transition ball, so dangerous for the Czechs. Good defence sees them halted on the 22. Lovely line in against the grain from Kral. He's held up initially, continues to be so, but the Czechs get him to the floor. And they go deep out the back. Cahoot breasts 2 tackles, 3 tackles. He's a problem for the Swiss, they can't solve currently. Then intercept attempt, but it's fallen for the Czechs. Inside ball, he's got support. The ball's going left, right and centre. Very scrappy. But the referee calls it back for that failed intercept attempt from Hugo Kobe. The Czech not afraid to play when they get the ball. They're certainly asking questions of the Swiss, leading, of course. A reset of the scrum, and just in case you're beginning to question yourself and me, we're just going to update our scoreboard for you. The Czech are leading 10 points to 8, not trailing 8 points to 7. A few technical gremlins here in Nyon, but not to worry, we'll stay on top of these things for you. You won't miss a point. You won't miss a beat in our coverage today that is bringing to you the Swiss men's national team versus Portugal in the Rugby Europe Trophy. It's going to be a spicy encounter. Portugal, they've never lost a game in the trophy, but they came oh so close last year when the Swiss went to Portugal and gave them one hell of a scare, leading at half-time. They eventually lost. But the Swiss in rude health and optimistic on this glorious Swiss Rugby Day here that we're seeing the under-18s play, followed by the national team, expecting a crowd of about 1,000 here. You can see the stands beginning to populate. I mean, you don't have to be a rugby fan to want to be out in these conditions today. Flanked by Lake Geneva and towered over by the Alps. What a setting for an afternoon's rugby. As we're watching the next generation in their travails currently. Switzerland, the home team, trailing 8 points to 10 to the Czech Republic. 25 minutes gone, 10 remaining of this first half. The lineouts haven't been spectacular, but that's the best of the day. It's clean off the top, and let's see you go, Switzerland. Carried forward by their captain, Colovray. He's in everything. He wants his hands on the ball at any opportunity, but it's broken free for the big man, Porsche, who's dragged down 15 meters short. They go left. This is where they scored their try before. Lovely hands out the back from Colovray. Finds support from his second row. He then goes for a basketball-style pass over the top, but creeps forward in the challenge. It was scramble defence from the Czech. Lovely hands from Colovray after the initial burst from Porsche. Quimbro couldn't quite find the next offload. But the Swiss enjoying themselves down the left flank, that's for sure. As they'll look to maintain pressure on their Czech opponents. The Czech decide to run it through their danger man. Scythe down in the midfield. They continue to run. Fancy footwork from their fullback opens things up. They're up to the 22. Real adventure here from the Czech, and a lovely continuity game, offload after offload as they fall to the floor in the tackle. Pop ball again to that man, Cohoot. Eager to get his hands on the ball at any opportunity, but that adventure has cost the Czech numerous opportunities to clear the decks with a long kick. They wanted to keep it in hand, and eventually they knock it on in the contact. The Swiss have another bite at the cherry, and arguably the primest piece of rugby real estate on the field. Centre scrum just outside the 22. They can split the back line and really ask questions of this Czech defence. My money's on that they'll go down the left. They've had so much success probing down this flank. But they're not going to get the opportunity because it's a free kick to the Czech. They tap and they carry. Good clean out as well. Looking for quick ball. It's tempo stuff from the Czech, but they've got big bullocking men as well, such as Starosta, who we see in action there, swatting away red jerseys. Some lovely variety to the Czech Republic, but this is the man that's been lining up the field all day. Though his hands escape him again. That's 2 knock-ons in a row. Cahoot maybe. Getting a bit too confident when he had men on his outside. He really has looked lethal every time he's got the ball. There were a couple recent handling errors letting him down. He's certainly someone the Swiss will be talking about in their halftime huddle. As they get a real march on in the scrum. Limited to 1.5 meter shove, and they break down the right-hand side, looking fantastic. It's an offload, and what a pickup out the back door, and they're still on the charge. Footwork in support. What a score from the Swiss down the right-hand side. They had the Czech scrum on roller skates to get the initial momentum before bursting down the right-hand side. A series of audacious offloads.
Czech Republic 10.
Finally saw the ball in the hands of the Oyonnax player, Mehdi Porcher, who's sure he's a big old unit, but God, he can flight his feet. Stepping inside the covering defence, and then it was the power game across the line. A real shock for the Czech, who've been looking so good this half, but now they trail 13 points to 10. A kick to come, and that's really pleased the home crowd. Kobe adds one more kick to his tally. He was instrumental in the creation of the try down the right-hand side. And instrumental in giving the home side a 5-point lead as we enter the closing 5 minutes of an intriguing half to rugby. The Czech to kick off now. Big defence from the Swiss again means a further handling error from the Czech. The Swiss will be looking to see this half out without any further points conceded. That'll be a good bit of business for them. Scrappy at scrum time. Almost coming out of the tunnel here on the near side. I've got front row seats, like courtside at the Knicks, to see these 16 young men try and beat each other up in the scrum. It has been a messy aspect of the game, a real technical feature of rugby. Something that old wizened forwards learn over years and years. These youngsters, though, doing a good job and laying a platform for these backs to express themselves as we go wide right. Another handling error, though, means that those 16 boys who've just raised their heads from the turf will be looking up, looking left, and saying, oh God, it's another scrum. They trudge across. To do it all again in virtually the same position, but this time on the other side of the field. The referee not happy with something on the far side, so she goes for a better view. Chance for the forwards to suck in some diesel. They've been working hard all game. As I said, it's a hot, hot day here in Nyon. When you're out in the sun, you can really feel the warmth on your back. Imagine wearing a white or a red jersey careering around the park at high velocity. As we see the centres collide this time. It's the first time we've said his name, Colovray. He's met and dragged down before. Putner takes it on. Both ends not shy of a carry. The ball stripped in the tackle, and there's a chance to counter. Oh, if only Pico Roulet had looked left. He had two men outside and a chance for a breakaway try. But be it as it may, the Swiss have the ball. It's knocked on at the base. A number of errors creeping into the game. Very frustrating for the rhythm as a whole, for the spectators, for the players, I'm sure. As we enter the final minute of playing this first half. Our clock, just an approximation, so not referee's time. She may have a minute or so still on her clock to play. We had a break at one stage in the game for more scrum shenanigans. The scrum wheeled immediately. Referee awards a free kick. The tap is taken by the Czech. They're going to look to end this half on a flourish, and they're looking like they're going to do so. Wonderful offloading. Can they get it wide? No. Will they need to? They go through their power men. They're dragged down just short. Some patience, some composure here will do the men in white some good. But it's hungry defence from the Swiss. Clear out is good, but the Swiss come through to spoil. The referee sees no issue with it. The Czech find themselves scrabbling around. It was ponderous when the line was at their mercy. And the Swiss have really got out of jail with some ferocious counter-rucking right at the death. They win a penalty and a chance to cheaply clear the decks and probably see out this half. Colovray greedy with the yards as well. That's a fantastic kick all the way up to the 10-metre line. I mentioned the warmth. The sunshine's there to see. It's quite blustery here as well. The wind swirling in off the lake. So conditions for the kickers aren't necessarily as easy as they may seem at home. And the referee says that's enough for the first half, and an enthralling one at that. The lead changing hands a number of times. The try scoring was opened by the home side, the Swiss. Alexandra Pantilon with a powerful run down the left-hand side in the opening 3 minutes to kick us off in style. But the Czech, they fought back, eventually scoring a try through Ondřej Bešek on their way to 10 points, supplemented by the boot of their kicker. But the Swiss, they had the final say of the half. It was a try coming from big number 8, Mehdi Porsche, after a number of players had done impressive deft work down the right-hand side. And with Hugo Colovray on target, it is the Swiss who lead at half-time, 15 points to 10. We'll be taking a break, but we'll be bringing you the second 35 minutes in no time at all.
Andros, partenaire développement des équipes nationales suisses et juniors et féminines. Canal+, partenaire événementiel. DHL Express, partenaire logistique des équipes nationales seniors. Mavala, partenaire principal de l'équipe nationale suisse U18. Perskindle, partenaire bien-être des joueurs. Kappa, Oval Sport, équipementier officiel. S2O Sport, voyagiste officiel. Yonali Design Studio, agence de design officielle. Le Nyon Rugby Club remercie également ses sponsors, Andros, restaurant McDonald's à Nyon, restaurant McDonald's Nyon Centre, brasserie Les Brasseurs, Bali Électricité SA, DHL Suisse, GSK Consumer Healthcare Company, Ineos Group, Plus SA, restaurant de Colovray, Fisherman Pub, Lemprèche Transport, Dupéret Transport, La Côte, Chaland des Fils, Kidélis SARL, Caracas et Français, Régie du Bouversois, SB Sport Gland, Alain Roland de domaine de Chante-de-Grive, Ville de Nyon, le centre sportif de Colovray, le Fonds du sport vaudois, Soul Chamber Helvetia SARL, Lake Financial International et l'épicerie de Prangin. La Fédération Suisse de Rugby et le RC Nyon vous propose de participer à leur tombola. Parmi les lots à gagner, un maillot de l'équipe de Suisse, dédicacé par les joueurs, un polo officiel de la FSR, une casquette, un bonnet Suisse Rugby, un sac de sport du RC Nyon, un sweatshirt des Pirates de Nyon et un maillot réplica du RC Nyon. Les tickets sont à vendre au stand de la FSR pour 5 francs. Suisse Rugby Union and the Nyon Rugby Club propose to you to participate in their tombola. A range of exciting prizes to win. One shirt of the Swiss team dedicated by the players, an official polo shirt of the FSR, one cap, one Swiss Rugby wool hat, one sport bag of the Nyon RC. À la mi-temps, pour la République tchèque, sortie du numéro 5, Ondrej Beček. Sortie du numéro 7, Karel Kral. Sortie du numéro 15, Willem Suzanik. Sortie du numéro 20, Jaroslav Simec. Remplacé par le numéro 19, le numéro 24, Christophe Cheman, Philippe Roulf, le numéro 16, Dominique Svoboda.
So welcome back everybody, hope you've had a chance to catch your breath, grab a drink and revive yourself like the players just have done. Messages delivered in the huddles, 5 points in this fixture, finally poised. And it was an entertaining first half, slightly error-strewn at times. Both sides will be looking to lower that number in this second and most decisive of halves. 5 points separating the sides. The ball in Adam Putner's hands for the Czech Republic, and we are off. A mix-up on the kickoff receipt, but the Swiss mop up the mess. Ahmed Kane, he put in a pretty monstrous hit early in the first half, eventually managing to pick up the pieces, taking it into contact, and again, it's a penalty given up by the Czech and an easy exit for the Swiss, though they have had a habit of missing touch with their kicks. Kobe makes absolutely sure of that one. Not too many yards made, but securely into touch. A line out on the 22 for the Swiss under-18s. And a chance to build some continuity early as it goes to that man who won the penalty from the kickoff. A show and go from the 10 again. Colbert, one of his backs, was running a delicious line. Chose not to go with him and was on the receiving end of a pretty heavy tackle in the midfield. In at the side at the breakdown from the Czech. We saw a yellow card come early for Axel Reyes for the Swiss, which coincided with the Czechs' most dominant period of the game. As Kobe misses touch again, this is killing them after doing all the hard work to win the penalties in the midfield. It's 3-4 occasions that he's missed his shot at touch. Get away with it this time, with the Czech not gaining too many yards on their clearance. You've got a wonderful view of this line out here from our commentary position. It's almost like standing behind a darts player on the hockey. But our front row seats are going to experience an intermission from the referee, who's not happy with something. Line out orientated, she's going exclusively through the captain. They go short to the banker. It's a pop off the top. It looked like a preordained move to Porsche. Went behind him and the Swiss lose 10 yards. They get it to the floor. The relief is they still have possession and they have men. Right, Porsche, the try scorer, breaks through. They're back to where they started in terms of territory. Boot to ball into the 22, looking to put pressure on the back three. But the hang time's too great. It's an easy mark in the end for the Czech. A chance to slow the game down. And drill the ball almost exactly where play kicked off 3 minutes ago from the malfunctioning line-out move. Wonder if the Swiss will go for it again. It was a nice clean take, real easy ball. The Czech not contesting at the moment. Porsche was then looping round short. Here he is. He's at the back of the driving maul. It's the first time we've seen a significant one built. The referee calls for some form of obstruction. It was a truck and trailer. Some obstruction in there, which is a bit of a shame. It was built well, good length on it, well controlled at the back. But done illegally so. And the Czech this time, they find their touch, but this time it's going to be their throw-in. They're up to the 22. A number of fresh faces on the field who've come on in the intermission. Number 19, Christoph Zeman. Number 26, Karel Sampalik, loitering in the back line. Number 24 as well. Let's see what these boys can do. If they can be the impetus to put the Czechs into the lead, but it's one of the starters, the number 8, Krešel, who breaks through a few tackles, and this is a great chance for the Czechs, and it's one of those substitutes I mentioned a moment ago, who wriggles through to be just yards short of the line. No, he squirmed across, and an immediate impact from Karel Sampalik opens the second half scoring, brings the teams to level terms, and it is all to play for in this second half.
Switzerland 15, Czech Republic 15.
So the Czechs, with their first real attacking sniff of this half, bearing a try, an equalising try that's presenting a lead-taking opportunity for Adam Putner. He's kicked rather well today. Wouldn't bet against him, nudging this over and giving the visitors a 2-point lead. And he delivers under the pressure, and the Czechs, they're in the lead now, 15 points to 7. 6 minutes of this second half played, 35-minute halves, remember, so just under half an hour for the Swiss to get their noses back in front. I doubt it will be the last twist and turn of this fiercely fought game that we have this afternoon. As we get back underway with a kickoff into the Czech 22, not claimed very well, and the Swiss have a chance to respond immediately. Look to be in at the side from the Czechs, but the referee didn't see it. She spotted another infringement, this time from the Swiss. The penalty count for both sides has been pretty unacceptable, I'm sure, on the video analysis later this week. Both sets of players will be under scrutiny for their discipline. But that matters not at the moment for the Czechs, because a spiraled penalty kick to the touchline takes a bounce, jags right, and they're right in the heart of the Swiss defense. 20 meters out. Another score here, another maximum. They take them up to 9 and more than the score clear of their hosts. They take the line out well, but it was not straight. The Swiss putting 2 men up to contest, one at the front, one at the back. And the hooker feeling the pressure on his throw. Ultimately, throwing a skewed one. The Swiss will have a scrum in their 22. Same position. Looking to exit and play some ball up in the Czech half. Yeah, another reset here. It's something that has blighted this game, unfortunately. Probably seen 15 scrums, very, very few of them forming on the first attempt. They get it right this time, and the Czech, this time, unusually for them, get the nudge on, but the Swiss do well. They send the ball high into the swirling wind. It's really got up noticeably now. The chase is good. Can they drag down the Swiss number 11, Petrilka? They do eventually. Oh, good line speed from the Swiss, puts pressure on the Czechs. The referees missed the knock on, and are we going to have a controversial try? Cahoot, the danger man from the first half, makes some good yards, and it's into the hands of the try scorer. The Czech continuing to build this play. Great width from their back line all the way out to the right, but they continue to carry narrow. That is until they give up a penalty. It's their number one, the real powerhouse, the rhino in the front row. It's the roaster who's getting a talking to and a yellow card. Looks like a neck roll or a high tackle. We don't have the joy of replays, unfortunately, but the signal the referee was making with some dangerous play at clear out time with the Czech and attacker. I fear it might have been a neck roll. We all know what happened to the Swiss after they went down to 14 men through the yellow card of Reyes in the first half. They coughed up 10 points, they fell behind, and they'll be looking to inflict the same punishment on their visitors, who are now down to 14 for the next 10 minutes. Stolen by the Czech supremely from their number 8, Stefan Kreshel. Big defense from the Swiss, and they get the ball. Can they go right? Oh, big collision in the midfield. Players look all right. A couple of Czech players looking dazed as they get back into the back line. They'll have to think smart because the Swiss are looking tasty. Oh, a fumble. But it's gobbled back up while it's in midair. Another penalty off the feet this time from the Czech. The indiscipline is really starting to have a negative impact on the game from a spectator's point of view. Penalty to the Swiss. Maybe 42, 43 yards from the poles. And the confidence in Kobe. Plain for all to see because he plumps for the poles. The wind, difficult to discern where it's coming from, such is the swirl. He gets this. Phew. What a kick. He places it rugby league style, end over end. Looking to strike it sweet on the tip, which he does. Has it got the legs? Yes, it has. What a fantastic kick from Kobe to add another 3 points to his ledger, to the Swiss ledger, and take them 1 point into the lead. 18 points to 17 they lead. A fantastic kick This swirling wind, not an issue. A clean, pure strike. The direction was true. And the lead changes hands once again. So we see a tipped ball to Porcher. He's been busy all game as the big man from France. In fact, quite a triumvirate the Swiss have in the 8, 9, 10, all playing in France. Porcher, Vincent, Kobe. So there should be a good understanding between all three of them. As we see the Czech look to reply. Big defense again, once again from Ahmed Kane. When he makes a hit, you know about it. And the spectators sure do as well, as the Czech find some gaps down the left-hand side. Covered defense is strong. And a penalty again. Holding on. Brilliant big defense coming across to slam the door shut before the Czech number 13, Colovray, found himself isolated. He had to hold on just a heartbeat too long. The referee all too keen to throw her arm in the air. Award a penalty to the Swiss, and they're up to the 10-meter line.
La rencontre entre la Suisse et le Portugal dans le cadre du Rugby Europe Trophy a été reportée à 15h30.
Success with their banker ball at the front. Lovely hands. Takes the ball into the centre field, not many yards though. Colbert finds his inside centre, number 22. Bobier. He loses it in the contact. And the Czech now on the charge. Possession not being treasured by either side. We're playing penalty advantage to the Czechs. You put a ball in behind, it clips the toe of Jaunet. We saw so much of him in the opening 10 minutes. A real threat on the counter. He decides to kick it this time. And we see Cahoot. Not pass, take it on himself. We've seen that a bit this game. The boy certainly backs himself with justification as well with some of his impacts. Certainly in the first quarter, half of the game. It's been quiet so far. They want to get his hands on the ball, but they're building nicely and they do so. Cahoot breaks the first, breaks the second. Offload out the back. Here's danger for the Swiss. Lovely hands tight on the left touchline before they're smuggled across the whitewash into touch. Again, good scramble defense from the Swiss. The Czech, once again, showing their desire to take a risk. Lovely out the back play from Cahoot. Commentators curse, criticising his lack of involvement in the half, and he crops up twice in the same phase with a gorgeous offload to free up the space on the left, which is ultimately snaffled out by the Swiss. We move to 16.5 minutes of this half, just under 20 remaining, a point in the game. It's at these stages in a game of rugby that the nous, the hunger, the fitness, all comes into play. These developmental days for the next generation of Swiss and Czech players. These boys under 18s, remember. And they take a look at them. You think that some of them could run a door at the local nightclub, such is their size. And also the skills on display have been quite impressive. But still learning their craft. And experiencing and discovering the way to win games and close out tight ones at that. These one-pointers hang in the balance from minute 1 to minute 80. Good line-out ball again from the Swiss. They've really found the formula, going to their man at the front. It's a tight one on the touchline. The linesman says no, but the referee overrules him. No, not for the line-out, but for the knock-on and bringing the ball back into play. It certainly was tight. Down on that touchline, tiptoeing along the paint. It's a knock-on that gets him in the end. It's a scrum to the Swiss. You haven't seen them do much damage in the Czech half for a while. Can they get some consistency, some continuity, and put some phases together to launch an assault on the Czech line? This Czech team, who drove all the way from Prague yesterday, 9 hours is the journey time. If you were driving in a car non-stop, you can imagine these boys being on a coach. A couple of stops, so a grueling journey to get down here to play their rugby. They have had an overnight. It shows you the lengths that these young men are willing to go to get their rugby fix at under 18 level. Here we go. The Swiss launch an attack out the back door to the 12, searing round the corner. And now it's in the hands of the big winger, number 11, Bentekea. But he loses it in the contact after making such good yards. The Czech carry it forward, route 1 with their big men. It's onto the toe. Down into the Swiss half. It's tipped by Porsche, who now wants to carry hard. And he does so, but tackled well. And they're back to the halfway line, the Swiss. Reyes, the man from the naughty step in the first half, makes an error, losing the ball in contact. It's then knocked on by the Czech. It'll be a scrum down Swiss ball. The handling skills deteriorating as the game goes on. And you just get the feeling if a couple of these passes stick, that could be the gateway to the try that wins the games. We see a raft of substitutions coming onto the field for the Swiss. Marusio, Adam Jans van Rensburg, Jamie Waverer, and Remy May also into the mix. So some fresh legs, some fresh ideas, some sharper handling, please, to see off this final 15 minutes that we're entering into. One against the head and then swiftly batted back, and the Swiss break free. Great offload to his man coming from depth. The Swiss keep it tight into the hands of one of the freshmen onto the field. May, Remy May has a fumble but regathers. And the Swiss still have it, building nicely here. The hands of the try scorer, the big man, and he's stripped. He goes in two upright, but it's good strength from the Czech, just as the Swiss were beginning to tick. The Czech rip it out. They've got a long way to go if they're going to get to the Swiss line. Infringements like that will help. The Swiss offside. I'd love to see the penalty count for both of these sides. A real bunch of risk takers. Not often going their way, it must be said. The referee putting her hand into the pocket as well, alarmingly for the Swiss. She takes it out, although that in itself is a warning to the men in red. As the Czech pinpoint their penalty kick up to the Swiss 22. Fantastic yardage earned there. As we see Sarosta take his bib off and re-enter the party. He's got some making up to do, having had 10 minutes off for a neck roll in the breakdown. The Czech back to their full complement. In fact, he takes the field and is promptly substituted. So that's his last action of the day. When he was on, he was a bullocking, rampaging presence. His afternoon cut short by a yellow card. Round about the same position where the Czech have this line out that hasn't gone to plan, but they come away with the ball. Ooh. It looked like it had fallen fortuitously for Sampelik, the try scorer from this half. But a knock on from the Swiss. Gives possession to the Czech. And a real platform to overturn this 1-point deficit. The scrum absolutely mangled between both sides. The referee eventually awarding a free kick to the Swiss, who tap and look to run it out of their half. They're the ones in the lead, so real swashbuckling stuff from the Swiss. They gain 15 yards. Oh, Colbert, lovely show and go out the back door to Porcher, who's in support. He bounces one, takes two to bring him down, places the ball, and the Swiss have the wind in their sail. Nice play down the right flank. Vincent scragged. Some of the replacements. One of the big number 18 from Mount Kelly, Jamie Waver, takes it forward. Before we see Remy May put himself into the fold once again. He looks like he's held up. They're battling to get him down to the floor. There's so many men in there. That is a maul if ever I've seen one. And real muscular stuff from the Czechs to hold up Remy May. It'll be another scrum down to the Czech on this occasion. After Remy May was ambushed by a gang of white jerseys in the midfield, they weren't going to let him get a knee to the deck. Not in a million years. They need to be more clinical when they get into the Swiss territory. The ball's come out the tunnel. The referee hasn't seen it. But her AR has radioed it in. The ball can be won against the head, but it can't go in the tunnel or come directly out of the tunnel. It has to go through the feet of the players. For those Swiss fans new to the game, in uproar as to why the ball was called back there. So the Swiss leading by 1 point, 18 points to 17, 27 and a half minutes gone. About 7 minutes remaining of this under-18 fixture. It's a friendly, but as I said at the top of the programme, is there such thing as a friendly in this wonderful game that we love, as we see Cahoot dragged to the floor. Remy May on that like a limpet, but to judge to be illegal, and the Czech counter knocked on. The referee says it went back. The Czechs still have it. Here we go, the final 6 minutes of play, and the Czech know it's now or never. Spoilt as the scrum half looked to pass, but the Czech maintained possession. The scrum half did this a little bit. Cahoot becoming more and more involved, though the Swiss seem to have got his number currently. But this is good concerted possession, good patience, good skill execution. As Colovray dashes out for the interception, but he's beaten by the feet of the try scorer, Sampalik, and it's opened up for the Czech as a result, and it's a hand aloft in the air because he knows what that try means. It takes the Czech into the lead with only 5 minutes left to play. Colovray raced out of the line to put pressure on the substitute, the try scorer, Sampalik, before some smart footwork left him in no man's land. They spread the ball right, they found the room, and then the Swiss outnumbered just couldn't bring down the flying Czechman. Swan diving across the line, taking them into the lead. There's a kick to come. It sails over the sticks. And with it, the Czech lead, 18 points to 24. 5 minutes remaining. The Swiss shocked at home with a mountain to climb, but they've still got time to do it.
Pour la Suisse, sortie du numéro 7, Melvin Schenker, remplacé par le numéro, son numéro, Luo Rocha.
Another scrappy kick-off receipt from the Czech, but they come away with it. And the Swiss now have it. They throw it wide. Knock on from the Czechs in the contact. Seemed to be advantage to the Swiss. The referee calling it back.
Sortie du numéro 11, Rami Bentekaya, remplacé par le numéro 23, Yediya Farescourt.
As we see Yediya Farescourt come on for the final moments of this game. A flyer down the left wing. He brings some magic to this Swiss backline. They need a 7-pointer. 5 not good enough. The kick from Putner, all important in stretching their lead to 6 points. The Czech just need to see this out. But 3.5 minutes is ample time for the men in red to give their home crowd something to cheer about on this Swiss Rugby day down here at Nyon. The crowd building nicely for the main event, which is coming to you live at 3 p.m. from the very same pitch, the very same blades of grass. In the Rugby Europe Trophy, Switzerland hosting Portugal, undefeated Portugal. The Swiss sitting in 5th at the moment, but belying a more auspicious season, a campaign ahead. As we see the Swiss break. Dragged down just beyond the 10-meter line. The Czech need to watch the offside. Vincent distributes to Kane. the physical presence. He's been ending people in the tackle all day. It's a penalty. The Swiss tap, they go. And it's a nice line on the inside. Dealt with well by the Czech defence, but still Swiss ball. Here we go, one of the substitutes, 22, Bourbier. Picks up the tumbling ball, but the referee brings it back to an earlier infringement, a penalty to Switzerland. The ball in the hands of their maestro, Colovray. He's had a mixed day with the boot. Good off the tee. Just one miss. Poor when securing touch from these penalties. It gives them the throw in, gives them the possession. He nails it this time, makes real sure of that. Onto the running track. Here at Nyon, we're all watching the clock as we approach the 34th minute, entering the final minute of the match. I mentioned before our clock, an approximation. We're not precisely tuned into the referee's clock, but certainly the referee's clock or our clock, we all know that this is the moment for the Swiss. They've built the drive. There's a cluster of men in there. Can they get it to the back? Can they keep it going forward? The ball is in vision. It's down on the floor, but it's short. They go to the right. Corbett, the captain. Dragged out, but there's a penalty. The drive was dragged down. They go to their big man, their scorer from the first half, who again is a metre short. They zigzag it back right. Can they get across the line? No, still short and held up. These are nerve-wracking times for the Czech. The Swiss bench with their head in their hands. They thought they were over. They're so close. But they'll get a second bite at the cherry. A scrum 5 meters out. What do they do here? Poor Chet, been so devastating all day. So hungry to get his hands on the ball and make a difference. Will he pick and go from the base? Or will we see Colovray, the man who calls the shots, the real leader of this team? Will he demand to get his hands on the ball to create some magic? It's a messy scrum, but we see Porsche wriggle away. Short, they're going to go wide. Colovray finds it outside centre, but it's spilt in the contact. The Swiss bench gasp. A long blow from the referee, surely. That's no advantage to the Czechs, but it's a penalty at the death for the Swiss. They tap, they go to Porsche, who shows outside, goes on his own again, dragged down agonisingly short. Huge defence from the Czech. They find the substitute. Vincent, he's been lively all game. He's one of their leaders, the number 9. He looks to offload out of the tackle. The ball's loose. The Swiss snuffle it up. It's messy, messy stuff, and they give away a penalty under immense duress from the Czech team. Our clock has ticked into 36 minutes and 30 seconds. There's a stop for an injury. Will this be the last play? Porsche, a number of times, bruising his way to the line, but then dragged down at the final moment. The Swiss needed some composure, some patience. They couldn't find it within themselves, and eventually they were driven back by furious defence from the Czechs. It forced the penalty. As the Czechs tap and send the ball into the Swiss stands to signal the end of the game. An absolute arm wrestle from start to finish. The Swiss in front of their home crowd end the match disappointed. having led for large swathes of the game. They led by a point for most of the second half until a moment of magic for Jindřich Colovray down the right wing saw the Czech swan dive under the poles for an easy kick for Adam Putner to put them 24-18 ahead. And despite a battery at the Czech try line in the closing moments of the game, the Swiss couldn't get across for the decisive score, and the game ends. Switzerland under 18s 18, Czech Republic under 18s 24. The Czech the victors today in this friendly, this fiercely fought friendly, and the perfect curtain raiser for the big one that is coming at 3 o'clock today. It is Switzerland versus Portugal in the Rugby Europe Trophy. We're going to take a break, but we're going to be back for all the match build-up and for all the action out there on the field on this glorious day in Nyon. We will see you very shortly.
Le Nyon Rugby Club remercie également ses partenaires, Andros, McDonald's Nyon Drive, McDonald's Nyon Centre, Brasserie Les Brasseurs à Nyon, Palier Électricité à Nyon, DHL Suisse, GSK Consumer Healthcare Company, Ineos Group, Plus SA Lausanne, Restaurant de Colovray, Fisherman's Pub, Lamprecht Transport SA, Dupéret Transport SA, La Côte, Chaland d'Épices SA, Kidélis SARL, Caracas et Français, Régis du Couversois, SB Sport Blanc, Alain Rollard, domaine de Chantegrive, Ville de Nyon, le Centre Sportif de Colovray, le Fonds du Sport Boudoir, le Soul Chamber et SARL, Lake Financial International et l'épicerie de Frangin. Nous vous rappelons que la rencontre prévue à 15h entre la Suisse et le Portugal a été reportée à 15h30. En match d'ouverture, la République tchèque, moins de 18 ans, a battu la Suisse, moins de 18 ans, sur le score de 24-18.
Il y a combien Théo là 6 à 10. Ils disent que d'action des Italiens sont transformés. Oh là, là, c'est des
Ok, la une, tu bloques tout, tu bouges plus.
C'est toi la une, c'est moi la une.